Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, we will do a lesson in standard 8th English today. And look at your screen. What can you see there? This is something which is very familiar, isn't it? We have seen this and spoken about this many a times. So what is this, children? This is a beehive. And then there is a bee also near the beehive. So what is this lesson about? Yes, this lesson is about honeybees. And the name of the lesson is lesson number 4.3, the bees. Now children, these bees are supposed to be the most organized, the most disciplined and the most hardworking of all creatures in the animal kingdom. Okay, you know that they all live in a hive and they work together in order to collect honey, and then they have no fights among themselves. They have a queen bee, they have officer bees, and they have worker bees. So there is never a situation where we have seen that the workers are revolting or going against the queen bees or the officer bees. Okay, so the beehive is said it is like a world of its own. All right. So let us talk about this lesson now. And when we are talking about this lesson, we are going to learn a little bit more about the life of bees in this particular lesson. So what do you think, children? Will the bees be having a very wonderful and very happy life? No, they have a very hard working life. They have to work day and night in order to gather honey. And then also there could be other problems also in their lives. So we will see what problems could be there in the life of bees here in this particular poem, poem number 4.3 from your textbook, The Bees. Now this poem, children, it is written by a very famous English poet, William Shakespeare. We will talk about him later. Let us talk about a few warming up exercises here now. So let us try to match certain professions and the field of work. Now, just now I told you, in the beehive, there are people, there are bees ranked from different ranks or categories. That is, there is a queen bee in every beehive. She is a queen of the hive. And then there are people who are below the queen and they manage, they are the people who are in control of, they are the officers or they are the administrators of that particular hive. Then you have bees who are soldiers also. Okay, so all the bees in the beehive, each bee in the beehive has got his or her own work to do. They follow a particular work, they do a particular job. So just like the bees have got their work divided, we human beings also belong to various professions. So here we have a list of professions and what these people do. Okay, so let us please try to match these two now. So see, profession could be, a person could be a chief minister, he could be a magistrate, a soldier, a trader, builder, driver, teacher. These could be the, you can say, description of what a person does. Or this could be the name of the post that he holds. Now, what kind of work does he do? So, he could be doing business, transport, construction, administration, education, defense, law. So, come on, let's try and match these two now. So, what does a chief minister do? So, the chief minister is in charge of a state. All right. So, what does a chief minister do? He does the work of administration. That is, he looks after the working of the entire state. He manages the affairs of the entire state along with his ministers. What about a magistrate? So where are you likely to find a magistrate working? You will see a magistrate in a court of law. So the magistrate deals with a law, with understanding law, with trying to make judgments, giving judgments in case there are some kind of issues between people. Okay, so a magistrate deals with law. He works in the field of law. What about a soldier? We all know that a soldier is responsible for the defense of any country. So a soldier looks after the defense. He works for the army, he works for the navy, the air force. Sometimes he works on the border security force. So whatever he does, what does a soldier do? The soldier defends the country against external aggressions. What about a trader? What does a trader do? He simply does business. Okay, and when we say business, there are so many things that a trader can do. He can sell things, he can buy things, he can manufacture things, he can export things. Okay, then you have a builder. So, what does the builder do? The builder is in the field of construction. So, a builder builds buildings, hospitals, roads, etc. All this work is done by the builder. Driver, of course, works in the field of transportation. So the driver could be a bus driver, truck driver, it depends. Finally, you have a teacher. So what does a teacher do? The teacher takes you forward in the field of education. She teaches you, she gives you more knowledge in the field of education. Okay, so here we have matched the professions with the field of work. Now, let us go a little further and let us talk about certain, you can say, sayings or certain comparisons which are made between animals and human beings. Sometimes there are certain creatures or animals who have certain special characteristics. Okay, when you talk about a particular animal, immediately that particular characteristic comes into your head. For example, you say a cheetah. When I say a cheetah can run very fast. You must be knowing a cheetah is a fast animal. Okay, or when I say an elephant is really big, huge. So when there is someone who runs very fast, we compare him directly or indirectly to the cheetah. So here is a list of 10 animals and some of their qualities. So these qualities can apply to some other animals also. Okay. For example, if the elephant is huge, the extinct animal, the dinosaur, was also huge. But nowadays we do not have dinosaurs. So when you say huge or big, we usually say elephant. Okay. A whale is huge. A whale is big. Alright. So like I said, the characteristic can apply to one or more than one animals also, as the case may be. So let us start with the first one. As dash as a lark. So as merry as a lark. Now the lark is a kind of a bird which is singing all the time. You will see a lark singing away. So who is the person who keeps on singing? It is a person who is very happy with life. Okay. So someone who keeps on singing, we say he's as merry as a lark. Then you have as slow as a snail. Now we all know this. The snail is an animal which carries its shell on its body and it is very, very slow as a snail. What about a giraffe? What do you think is the quality of a giraffe? A giraffe is very tall. So if someone is extremely tall, you say he's as tall as a giraffe. So you can imagine what kind of height that person might be having. As dash as a bee, as busy as a bee. So bees, they have their work. I told you they are a very organized kind of animal and they have their own duties and they continuously keep on doing their duties. They are very disciplined also. As dash as an elephant, we just discussed, as big as an elephant or as huge as an elephant. And then you have as dash as a mouse, as quiet as a mouse. A mouse is very quiet. It quietly comes and it goes. Okay, you will not see it making a lot of noise. So as quiet as a mouse. As dash as an eel. What is an eel, children? An eel is a water animal. It is a kind of a fish which lives in water. And it is very, very slippery. So if someone is, you're never able to catch someone, catch in the sense not physically, but if you're calling someone and that person is always slipping away from you, he's not doing the work which you're asking him to do, then you say that that person is as slippery as an eel. That is, you will never be able to hold him. You will never be able to make him do something. As dash as a fox, as sly. Foxes are very sly. What is the meaning of sly here? Sly means very cunning. Okay, as cunning or sly as a fox. As dash as a worm. What is a worm? A worm means a kida, as humble as a worm. So, worm is something which you will find in the mud below your feet. So, it is supposed to be very humble, not at all proud. As dash as a deer, as fast as a deer. I told you we can sometimes attribute one quality to more than one animal. So, if the cheetah is fast, the deer is also fast. Alright, so these are some comparisons which we can make between living creatures. That is, it could be birds, it could be animals, it could be insects because of their special quality. And if a human being also has these qualities, then you can use these particular phrases. Now, let us come to the main part of our lesson. That is, we will go into reading the poem and trying to understand what William Shakespeare wants to tell us about the bees through this particular poem. Before that, we will talk a little bit about William Shakespeare. Now, you have been learning different poems by the same poet. For example, last year, when you were in Standard 7th, you learned the poem Under the Greenwood Tree, where William Shakespeare had a lot of things to say about nature and about life in nature. So, this is another poem related to nature, and it is about a wonderful creature from nature, that is bees. So let us talk a little bit about William Shakespeare now. He was born on the 26th of April 1564 and he passed away on the 23rd of April 1616. He was an English playwright, poet and actor, and he is regarded as the greatest writer in the English language, and he is also called as the world's greatest dramatist. Okay, that means he used to not only write poems, he used to write plays also, and he used to act also in those plays. Now we are talking about the 14th and the 15th century here, children. That time there were no motion pictures, there was no cinema. Okay, so plays and dramas were a kind of entertainment for people. And this person here, he used to write beautiful plays. Many of his plays we get to learn also as part of our English textbooks. He used to also act in the plays, okay, and he was also called as a great dramatist. He is often called as England's national poet and the Bard of Avon, or simply the Bard. Now, Avon, why? Because he was born in a place called Avon in England. So, this is about the very, very famous English poet. There is no one who must not have learnt English and not heard about William Shakespeare. So, if you have learnt any English, you will have definitely heard about William Shakespeare. So let us go now and let us look at this particular poem about bees. I'm going to mark the line which I'm reading, and there are certain words which are given in a different color. We are going to discuss their meanings also. So work the honeybees, creatures that by a rule in nature teach. So this is the way that honeybees work. They follow a particular rule which nature has taught them. The art of order to a peopled kingdom. So we should learn people, human beings. Peopled kingdom here means a place which is inhabited, peopled. Okay, people means human beings, you and me. And a place which is peopled means there are people living there. So honeybees are the people from whom we should learn how to live in order, how to maintain order, how to live an orderly life, how to have discipline in our lives. So all this, if you want to learn, you should look at or turn to the honeybees. They have a king and officers of sorts. Officers of sorts means different kinds or different types or levels of officers. So they have a person who is a king among them, or queen we say. We always say queen bee. We seldom say king bee. Okay. So they have a king or they have a ruler, you can say, and officers of sorts, where some, like magistrates, correct at home. So what do magistrates do? Magistrates deal with law. We just saw magistrates are the people who deal with law. So in case there is a wrong which someone has done, the magistrate will always try to set it right by levying some kind of fine on that person, or sending that person to prison in order to correct his behavior, etc. So some are magistrates who do the work of correcting people, reforming people, trying to change the mentality of people. Others, like merchants, venture trade abroad. So, merchants here means traders, businessmen. What do these merchants or traders or businessmen do? They venture trade abroad. That means they undertake trade abroad. Trade means business abroad, buying and selling. Okay, or in this case, collecting honey. So, abroad means what? Do they go to a foreign country? No, they just go outside the honey beehive. So the beehive is the world of the bees. It is a place where the bees live. So it is these merchant bees who go abroad, means they go outside the beehive. Others, like soldiers, armed in their stings. Now you know that bees have this sting, okay? Sting means a pointed needle like thing at the front of their face, and they sting really badly. If in case a bee stings you, that part of your body will ache for at least a day, because it leaves out some kind of mild poison. There are some bees which are supposed to be poisonous also. It will do more harm to you. So there are some bees which are kings, there are some which are officers, some of them are magistrates, some of them are merchants, and then there are other soldier bees, ordinary soldier bees, okay, worker bees. They carry their stings with them. Now the stings are a kind of a proboscis, we say. It is a kind of a, you can say, a straw with which they suck honey also from the nectar from the plants, okay. So there are these soldier bees who do their duty of carrying their stings. And then what do? Make boot upon the summer's velvet buds. So in summer, when you have those beautiful buds and flowers on the plants, it is the soldier bees that go with their stings and make boot upon. What do? They make boot upon means they start collecting. They start the work of gathering. What? The nectar which is present in the buds, which is present in the velvet buds. Velvet means these buds, these flowers, they have beautiful colors, isn't it? So they are called as velvet buds, which pillage they with merry march bring home. So they go with their stings and they sit upon these buds and flowers. They collect all this honey and they bring it back home and they pillage it. Pillage here means stealing something or thieving something is called as pillaging, because the nectar is not supposed to be there for the bees, isn't it? It is supposed to be there for the use of the plant or the bud or the flower. But the bees go and anyways get the nectar. So that is why we say that they pillage the nectar. So can you see how busy the life of the bees are? But that is not all. Some of them can get punished also for their wrongdoings. Let's see in the next part of the poem. To the tent royal of their emperor. So the king who's there, they take all this nectar which they have collected using their stings to the royal tent of their emperor, who busied in his majesty surveys. Now he is busy, he is the king. So he doesn't have a lot of time. So he is busy. What is he doing? He is surveying. Surveying means what here? Surveying means he is looking after or supervising or studying the singing masons building roofs of gold. So now here, see, this is the next category of bees. We had the soldiers who used to leave the hive, go out with their stings and collect the nectar and bring and deposit it inside the hive. And then who is the person who is overlooking them, or who is the person who is studying them or supervising them? It is the king. So now he is also supervising the masons who build the roofs of gold. Now honey is golden in color, isn't it? So the masons, there are mason bees also. Who are masons, children? Masons are people who do construction work. Okay. So there are bees who are masons also. Mason here means people who do the work of building the hive. So there are a section of bees who are mason bees. So they neither do the work of a magistrate nor do they go out to collect honey like the soldier bees do. They just do the work of building the hive. The civil citizens kneading upon the honey. So now someone comes and collects the honey. These people, they gather the honey and they deposit it in the hive. So now there are some citizen bees. Okay, what do these citizen bees do? They knead upon the honey. That is, they properly mix the honey, because this honey has to be stored for a long time, isn't it? So it is necessary that they mix it. So see, the next category of bees is the civil citizens. That is the bees who are the citizens of the hive. Then you have the poor mechanic porters crowding in. Porters means people who carry loads, the coolies. Okay, their heavy burdens at his narrow gate. So now you have these mechanics also, the poor mechanic porter bees. So the bees who carry the load from one place in the hive to another place. All right. The sad-eyed justice with his surly hum. Now there is a justice also along with the magistrate. Okay. And he's got a surly hum. You know, the bees, they hum. They make this kind of sound, which is called as a hum. So he has got a surly means very rude hum. Okay. He is very, very rude. He is very, very rough and tough to talk to. Delivering over to executors pale. So now there are some executor bees also. Executor bees means bees who are there who do the work of execution. Execution means killing people. So sometimes people who do very big crimes, very grave crimes, they are not sent to jail, but they are executed, they are hanged. Okay, so these people who do the work of hanging people, they are called as executioners. So there are sometimes the judges who send certain bees who are very big criminals to the executors. Now the executors are very pale because they are sad that they have to kill other bees. The lazy yawning drone. Okay, now the drone can have two meanings, children. The drone means the constant sound is also called the drone. So the sound which is made by the bee is called as a drone, and a drone can also be a male bee. So see, this is all the difficult work that the bees have to do. So the life of bees is not very simple as we thought it is. Okay, the bees have to live a very, very extremely difficult life where they have so much work to do, and all this work is divided amongst them. And in case one of them doesn't do their work properly, then there is also the justice who will be rude and who will send him to the executioner. So this is how William Shakespeare has described the life of these bees which live in the beehive. And he's also tried to bring out the different roles they play during the course of this life. Alright, so this was the poem, children. Now we will try and do a few exercises quickly here before we wind up, and then I'll put up another video because there is a lot of exercises in figures of speech and syllable, stress, etc. in this lesson, which we will take up separately when we meet next time. So come on, let's start by doing an exercise here. So this is the first exercise in the English workshop part. Honeybees, they live an organized life like human beings. In fact, we can say that their life is more organized than human beings. So discuss what work the following honeybees do as per the poem. Write it down in your own words in your notebook. So I will be just giving you some clue words here. You will have to write the description in your notebook. Okay. So these are the different kind of bees that we have here. We have the king or the emperor or the queen bee. You have the magistrate bee. You have the merchant bees, the soldier bees, the mason bees, civilian bees. Civilian means ordinary citizens like you and me. Then you have the porter bees, and then you have a judge bee. So let us see what work these bees do. So I will try and describe their work in just a few words. Okay, you will have to elaborate it. That is your homework or your assignment. So what does a king bee do, children? He surveys the work of the other bees. So he's like the boss. He looks after the work, or he looks and tries to keep an eye on the work of all the other bees who are working under him. Then you have the magistrate bee. What does a magistrate bee do? He corrects the bees at home. So in case there are certain bees who are making certain mistakes in the way they are working or functioning, the magistrate bees will correct these bees. Then you have the merchant bees or the businessman bees or the trader bee, as we say. What do? They venture abroad. Abroad means they go outside the hives to carry on trade. Okay. Then you have the soldier bees who are armed. Armed with what? Stings. All right. Just like the soldiers who fight in the army are armed with guns, in the same way the soldier bees in the beehive are armed with stings and they collect honey. What about the mason bees, children? The mason bees build roofs of gold. All right. Is it actual gold? No, it is made up of a kind of wax, which is we call as beeswax. Then you have a lot of civilian bees or citizen bees. And what do these people do? The citizen bees or the civilian bees? They knead or mix the honey. What about porter bees? Porter bees carry heavy burdens. Finally, the judge bee, he gives death sentences to drone bees. To bees who are not doing the work properly, they are given death sentences by the judge bee. Alright, so this was the first exercise from the English workshop part. Now I will do just one more exercise with you and then we will wind up this particular video for now. So in the second part of your English workshop, you are supposed to complete by the sentences using appropriate options. So human beings can learn from honeybees. How can they learn from honeybees? Do they learn how to make food? Or do they learn how to live joyfully? Or do they learn how to lead an organized nation? Yes, just like the bees lead an organized hive, in the same way we can learn how to lead an organized nation. We can start at the home level, how to run an organized home, and then further progress, and we can learn how to lead an organized nation, a disciplined nation where everything is in order and there is no chaos at all. The soldier bees carry home. What do they carry home? Do they carry home the velvet buds? Or do they carry home the nectar which is looted from the flowers? Or their weapons? So they carry home the nectar which is looted from the flowers. Now children, the spelling of nectar here in the question is slightly misprinted. Okay, this is a picture of your textbook. But the correct spelling I have given you when I have written the answer. It is Nectar, nectar. Alright, then you have the emperor bee supervises the building of what? Does he supervise the building of the beehive or the bridges or a tower? Yes, he supervises the building of the beehive. Okay, those golden roofs, that is the beehives. The next one, the dash bees make honey from nectar. So are those the officer bees or the civil citizens bees or the magistrates? The civilian citizen bees, they make nectar, honey from the nectar by mixing, kneading the honey properly. And the last one, the drone is given a death sentence. Why is he given a death sentence? Because he attacked the emperor, because he killed other bees, or he doesn't do any work. He's given the death sentence because he does not do any work. So see how seriously they take their work. If you're not doing your work properly, you can be also given a death sentence. So don't you think we should learn a lot from these bees? Because if we learn to live a disciplined life like them, then our nation will also become a very progress and developed nation. Now there are a few more exercises, children, as I told you, remaining in this lesson. We will do it when we meet next time and when I put up the next video. So that is all for today. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now, after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So, what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now, what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So, what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.